Good morning, everybody. As Abby said, I'm going to be talking to you about Penn State's Engaged Scholarship Initiative. And it's a large and complex and dynamic initiative, but what I hope I leave you with today is a basic understanding of what we're trying to do and how we're trying to go about doing that. When I first started to think about what I wanted to say today, I had these grand illusions of riding in here on a bicycle and riding up to the stage. Because a bicycle is an apt analogy that we like to use when talking about engaged scholarship. But rather than risk the embarrassment and potential of personal injury, I'm going to do it another way. I would ask you to think about this as a large lecture classroom at Penn State. And I am the instructor and you are all the students. And none of you knows how to ride a bike. And today's lecture is going to be how to ride a bike. And I'm going to be talking to you about the parts of a bike, how you steer the bike, how you pedal the bike, and how you brake it. And since so far you are all awake, I haven't bored you, you've been taking good notes. And in the next class session, I give you a quiz, and it's simply write an essay on how you ride a bike. And since you're still awake, you've taken good notes, you're able to do really well. Most of you get 80, 90, 100% on the quiz. So you've done well, and you've proven that you've learned the material. Well, the next class session, I come in, and I have 300 bikes, one for each of you. And I ask you to ride a bike, and that is your test. I would be willing to bet that most of you won't get an A on the first attempt to ride that bike. Why is that? Because you haven't had the opportunity to practice riding the bike. And that is really what the Engaged Scholarship Initiative is all about. We try to provide students with opportunities to take what they learn inside the classroom and apply them to situations outside of the classroom. And I don't know about you, but there are often times when I will leave a lecture or a class or a seminar, and I'll think, okay, this is perfect. I'm going to do this exactly this way in my job. And I get to that situation, and it doesn't always fit. Theory doesn't translate to practice as well as you think it might. Sometimes you might need to tweak it just a little bit. Sometimes you might need to tweak it a lot, and it's like fitting a square peg into a round hole. And so not only do you need to take the theories and ideas that you've learned in the classroom, but you need to think about some of the other skills that you have learned through your in-class and out-of-class experiences to make something work and to make an impact. And once again, that is also what Engaged Scholarship is about. So what are some of the types of experiences that Penn State defines as Engaged Scholarship experiences? They are listed for you up on the screen. And you'll see in the title it says types of experiences, also known as HIPs. HIPs stand for High Impact Educational Practices. In other words, when students participate in the experiences listed below, they have a positive impact on their learning. And they learn better and they learn more. So what are some of the ways that these experiences benefit students? First of all, it's been proven that Engaged Scholarship experiences increase student success by, number one, increasing student retention, and number two, increasing student engagement. Additionally, it has been proven that students who come from underserved populations, for example, first-generation college students, low-income students, or underrepresented students, have a disproportionately more positive impact through participation in Engaged Scholarship than other students do. There's also a positive correlation between participation in Engaged Scholarship experiences and deep learning. And what is deep learning? It's understanding and integrating diverse perspectives, it's critical thinking, and it's analyzing and synthesizing ideas, all skills that will serve everybody well when they get into the working world. Finally, there's also a positive correlation between participation in Engaged Scholarship experiences and students' perceptions of effective educational practice, such as student-faculty interaction, active and collaborative learning, and level of academic challenge, all of which have also been proven to enhance student learning. So all of those things are great. So for students, there's a lot of personal benefits. But there could be some professional benefits as well. The American Association of Colleges and Universities, 2 out of the last 3 years, has done surveys of employers who hire students right out of college. And I've picked some of the key elements of their findings and put them up on the screen. 95% of employers say that they put a priority on hiring people with the intellectual and interpersonal skills that will help them to contribute to innovation in the workplace. Only 1 in 6 employers, or 15%, view a student's major as the key factor for success in the workplace. And 88% of employers believe that it is important for universities to ensure that all students are prepared with the skills and knowledge needed to complete a significant applied learning project, i.e. an engaged scholarship sort of project. So what is Penn State doing? Well, as a good academic endeavor, the first thing that we did was we defined what engaged scholarship is. And it's a really simple definition. Engaged scholarship are out-of-classroom academic experiences that complement in-class learning. Now, how are we going about doing this? You'll note that from the first bullet up on the screen, Penn State's actually been involved in engaged scholarship for almost 20 years. But I'd really like to focus on the last 3 bullets on the slide. Just last month, Penn State was identified by the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching as an institution that is committed and involved in community engagement. So we are one of the leaders across the institution in engaged scholarship and community engagement. The most recent iteration of the Engaged Scholarship Initiative started in the fall of 2011, when the vice presidents for outreach, student affairs, and undergraduate education charged a task force that was told to identify more ways for students to participate in service learning opportunities. As the task force went about doing its work, they broadened their scope to say that university really should be focused on encouraging students to participate not only in service learning activities, but all engaged scholarship opportunities. That task force submitted its recommendations and they were accepted, and in the fall of 2012, the provost created the Council on Engaged Scholarship, the entity at the university that is now charged with advancing the Engaged Scholarship Initiative. And the council is made up of students, faculty, and staff that cross academic and disciplinary boundaries from all across the university, University Park, Commonwealth campuses, and the World Campus. What is the vision of the council? It's very simple. We want Penn State to be the leading public higher education institution for undergraduate engaged scholarship. That's a grand vision, right? It's great, and we're shooting for that. We have 2 primary goals. Number 1, we want engaged scholarship to be a part of the ethos and identity of Penn State, just as academic excellence is a part of what everybody thinks of when they talk about Penn State. Student engagement is part of what people talk about when they think about Penn State. Athletic excellence is what they think about when they talk about Penn State. We want engaged scholarship to be one of those things that Penn State is known for. Secondly, we want every undergraduate student, University Park, Commonwealth campuses, and World Campus, to be able to participate in one, if not multiple, engaged scholarship experiences while they're at Penn State, because we know that it will help them in their learning. That's a big project. There are 70,000 undergraduate students right now across the university, not including the World Campus. So we know that we have to partner with many different entities, and I've listed some of them up on the screen. And I want to talk about 2 in particular. Number 1, the Faculty Senate. Dr. Corinne Yarnell, who is the co-chair of the Council on Engaged Scholarship, worked with the Faculty Senate last year to get their endorsement for the Engaged Scholarship Initiative. 9 of the Senate committees worked together to create a report that was passed by the full Senate and endorsed by the President to say that we think this is important and we want you to move forward. And secondly, students. This is really all about student learning in many ways. And we have been partnering with students all along in our initiative. Both UPUA and CCSG passed resolutions last year in support of our initiative, and we have students on our council and all of our council committees. So we continue to want to engage with students, and if any students in the audience want to become involved in our initiative, I encourage you to come and see me at some point during the day today. And finally, the last bullet talks about the partnership between outreach and online education, student affairs, and undergraduate education. We continue to be, across the university, comprehensive effort to move forward. Now, we know that we are going to face some obstacles. I want to talk briefly about some of them. The first is faculty reward structure. You know that we are a research-intensive university, which means that in many areas of the university, we reward faculty for the number of publications that they have and the amount of grant money that they come in. And sometimes faculty are even penalized for teaching in a way that encourages engaged scholarship. We have a committee of the Council on Engaged Scholarship that is working to solve this solution in a very reasonable way. Funding is an issue. Many of the experiences that are considered engaged scholarship experiences cost little to no money at all. But things like study abroad or study away do cost money. And we don't want students to not be able to participate in these because they can't afford it. So we need to find some money. I talked about the fact that this is a university-wide effort. It's cross-disciplinary and cross-administrative units. Higher education is known for its administrative structures. We need faculty and staff from all within and between colleges to partner with everybody who's concerned about student learning to move this initiative forward. Scalability. How do we do this for 70,000 students? We need to identify models that can be taken and that have shown to be effective so that anybody who is interested in pursuing something like this can adopt a plan and implement it wherever they might be. And finally, the initiative is almost all volunteer-driven. We have more than 100 faculty, staff, and students involved in what we're doing right now, and about 90 to 95% of them are volunteers who are doing it simply because they like what they're doing and they know that it's important. We are getting to the point where we will need some staffing to help move this forward. So finally, I would just like to wrap it up by saying a couple things. There is no other institution in the country that has defined engaged scholarship or is going about doing engaged scholarship the way that Penn State is. If we continue to do this the right way, we will realize our vision of being the leading public higher education institution for engaged scholarship by the year 2020. I've talked a lot in this presentation about the impact that engaged scholarship has on students. But it not only helps students, it helps faculty in their teaching, in their research, in their service. 3 key elements of Penn State's mission. And finally, the timing is right. The university just came out of a $2 billion capital campaign that was extremely successful. We have new leadership at high levels of the academic administration, both within the colleges and the central administration. And Dr. Barron's 6 imperatives align very nicely with what engaged scholarship is trying to do. So the timing is right. But what I hope I've proven to you today as well is that it is the right thing to do for our students, for our university, and for the communities that we serve. If you want to learn more about what we're trying to do, I invite you to visit our website, and I thank you very much for the invitation to speak today.